Welcome to MS Confidential, a monthly webcast series consisting of candid conversations about navigating the chaos of living with multiple sclerosis. Our panelists tonight are going to explore how humor has or has not traveled with them during their diagnosis and the way it connects them, it helps them build confidence, or it does something else that helps them think about our shared humanity. Elizabeth, I'm going to go ahead and bring it over to you. I know that you had a lot of thoughts about initially how you wanted to think about this. So can you tell me what you were thinking earlier today?
What I was thinking of, I find my life with MS is filled with hysterical moments. For me, hysterical, not for probably anyone else. And I was telling Kyle, I have so many urine jokes, like, which is hysterical to talk with Jessica and Kyle. We all share common experiences of incontinency. And I thought I could tell my best jokes. And I thought, oh, it's going to be great. And Heather Kennedy's going to join us. We'll just have a rip roaring time. And then at about 4:20, I started crying. And that's the first time I've cried before in any episode of MS Confidential, because I realized I love spotting the humor in the awkward, vulnerable times of MS. And I started crying because I think I use humor because I love looking at humorous things in life. But then I think I use it to deflect from my pain, psychological pain, not physical pain. And also, I think I use it to give back. I feel like I give all the time. I'm sorry, I don't give. I ask people to help me drink water, to help me feed. So people, I always ask of others because I'm a quadriplegic. So I'm dependent. And so my mind coming off and saying, oh, it's really funny, it means I get to give back to people instead of having them feel sorry for me or if to feel awkward that I appear of a jolly person. I think that's my way of uh, giving back and also deflecting my
Mhm.
pain. So
Yep.
it's very complicated. So Kyle, take it from here.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You saying that word deflecting, that's what I do. If something is it's heavy, because like I was saying, this shit is heavy. I make it seem not so heavy by joking about it, and that's good sometimes, but sometimes you gotta deal with the heavy. Um, But I get what you're saying, Elizabeth, that you feel like you're always asking people for something, you're taking, and you just want to give back. And Levity does that, and I feel that sometimes, not enough. I wish I could. I don't know. Feel that way.
I think,
Jessica,
oh, Jessica.
sorry. Just I'm sorry. Hand
No,
here,
no,
Jessica.
Jess, take it away.
Um, for me, being able to um walk in some type of levity, to be able to like comfortably walk into it and embody it. Um, it's one of the things that has absolutely kept me going post-diagnosis. Like I've sometimes, it's purposeful, like I'm with friends or I'm with all y'all and we're just having conversation, something's funny, so we make jokes. But I've also found that in this process, I think just as a means for survival, I've, instead of completely breaking down, I've chosen to kind of morph into this other young woman. I remember when, for example, um, I was in the hospital for a couple days, and that was not the plan, but I ended up there. And that's scary and heavy, and it sucks. And for me, it's that moment of like, you cannot escape the reality that you have multiple sclerosis, and then there's multiple MDs looking at you, there's neurologists looking at you, there's nurses, and you're here, and there's needles, and there's steroids, and there's all of these things happening. And I remember I can see them. There were 3 doctors. They were looking at me at the foot of my bed. Really kind. It was, but it's like I was giving them like playful despite the scenario, like despite the fact that we're trying to figure out, is this the beginning of another relapse? Are you probably going to be fine? But here I am kind of giving this like low scale comedy routine.
Yeah,
And
I do that too.
yeah,
And
and
it's like a
Totally.
self-diminishment of our situation.
I know, but it's
And
what else? And it's not even, it just kind of happens. I don't know how you, if you, it's like I'm like, it's like I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Like, what am I supposed to
yeah,
do? Lay there and say, just so y'all know, I'm horrified. This is the worst reality for me. This is scary. I hate me. It's like I can feel, I don't,
Right.
feel tears welling in my eyes now. I just don't. The only time where I'm very much like, let's just pause for a second, is if I have to give blood because of MS stuff. You know what I mean? That's the only moment where I don't have any choice. I don't
yeah,
have that character that just kind of emerges. And I don't know if that's like a human survival thing. And now I'm curious if it is, finding that like humor in a situations that's like, it's like not funny when your body, when a cold breeze makes your legs become intolerably like they will not move and there's just too much pain. You know what I mean? Like that's not funny. So I don't
Right.
know. It's maybe it's just survival. What do you guys think? Like in that specific scenario, do you think it's just simply like it's too much? So you like revert?
mhm,
I can tell you my story, um, if I may, Jessica. And 3 weeks ago, I was at the emergency room because I suddenly lost my ability to talk and see. I'm out of my right eye. And I thought, shoot, I feel like this is the symptoms of a stroke, but I don't know. I felt great, no pain. And my husband said, we're going to the emergency room
mhm,
immediately. And I went to the emergency room and I wasn't scared. I went, oh, it's fine, let's go. And when we talked to the triage nurse, um, she said, oh my God, we're gonna take you immediately. So I was first class. I jumped the line. This emergency room where normally you wait 3 hours to get in to do see anyone, and which I've done many times. This, I jumped the line. I was staring down. People were giving me the dirty eye. Why does this white woman get to go first? And
VIP.
I was be I was first class,
Yeah,
baby. Like I was gonna
rightfully
be met
so.
with champagne and caviar, and I was feeling so. What a great way if you're gonna go to the ER, go first class. And
Yeah.
I was immediately led into the triage line and went immediately to MRI and CT
Mm,
scan. I thought, wow, no, no waiting. This is cool. And I spent the whole time laughing with my husband and joking about how cool this was. And I was already starting to write an article like, this is the way to go, you know? And I, I, then I also wrote in my mind, like, I'm mad at God or whatever higher being
Mhm.
saying, no, I was given MS. I'm a quadriplegic, and you never told me I would have any other health problem in my life. And
mm-mm,
I will sign the contract. All right, I will agree to get MS, but no other. I'm immune from any other problems. And damn it, I want you to reread the contract that I signed. And you never once told me I would get anything else. And
mm-mm,
I'm mad, you know? It's my joking about now the psychological burden of laying in an MRI machine. So
mm,
I was just having fun, and um, I thought this humor topic would be really fun
Mhm.
tonight. And about a half an hour before, I started crying
Mhm.
so much. And I don't, I can't. I said, oh, I can't participate in this program. Thought, why am I crying? Because now I thought, oh, I have to deal with. I was diagnosed with I did have a minor stroke or mini stroke. I thought, oh, what does that mean? There's a
Mhm.
lot of mental processing in
mhm,
addition to quadriplegic. I don't know what the hell it means having a mini stroke. So then I started crying, thinking stuff, creating funny stories about going first class and caviar in the emergency room. I have to really think about what does this mean. So that's why I think it's so complicated.
Mhm.
Our humor, I guess it allows us to give back to other people and deflect so we don't have to think about it. I don't know,
Maybe
Jessica.
maybe it is a big deflection because as you're speaking, I'm listening to you in different very challenging moments. All of them when I'm in the hospital, I can remember how I behaved, and I that persona
mhm,
emerged every single time. And maybe it is like it's all too much of like a psychological whatchamacallit, the language you use. What do you think, Annie? What's your experience?
I don't know. I mean, hearing you all talk, I think what I'm hearing is there's a difference between feeling like you have to be funny for somebody else and it's like a defense kind of,
Mhm.
which can be a strength if you have
mhm,
to. Sometimes we have to put up those walls, or and that can be sometimes a defense, even though it's a defense, can be uh, a good adaptation to what we have to deal with.
Mhm.
But I think I came into this evening thinking more about like humor, like more about humility and like just learning how to laugh at myself, even if I'm
mm,
not like making jokes outwardly, but just like not taking myself too seriously. And like when I'm ridiculous or something ridiculous happens, or just being like, whatever, I don't care. And I don't know if that's humor or more just like, whatever. It's funny. I'm not perfect. Something really embarrassing just happened to me, and oh well. And to me, that feels more like a relief. But I think that's a very different kind of humor than when we are putting it like as an outward manifestation of what we want other people to receive. I think there's a difference. And so it's just, but I even think the outward can be, that deflection can be empowering, but not if we feel like it's performative. If we have to perform and we're trying to make other people happy with it, that's not. If we're trying to protect ourselves, that's okay. And
Yeah.
that's sometimes helpful, but not if we use it too much, right? But I think learning how to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously is always helpful. Just to be like, whatever. I mean, the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, it's, who cares if I'm like embarrassed? I mean, sometimes I care, of course, but I care much less. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not very modest. I don't, whatever, like, bring it on. But and that to me is kind of a humor of like just not getting hung up on it and just laughing at myself for like, yeah, I'm a little ridiculous. Okay. I don't know if that resonates.
That's understandable and relatable and super important. You know what I mean? Just to shrug it off and be like, this is what it is. This is who I am. And that's what it is.
And that's a kind of humor. I don't know if that's levity, but it's like not getting hung up in the heavy. It's just,
I think that's levity. It's being light in all this heavy shit.
Yeah.
What I love when I talk to Kyle, the first time I've ever talked to Kyle, we talked about urine. And we talked, it's so funny. I talked about the first time I was at San Francisco airport. At that time, I wasn't in a wheelchair, I was on in my walker. And it's really hard to put your pants down to go to the bathroom to balance the you're putting one hand on the walker and the other hand to put your pants down. And when I was at the airport, I fell in the toilet, that women's toilet. It was hysterical. I mean, not performative. I just started laughing at myself as both my hands when the toilet bowl. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And Kyle started laughing and had his own reaction to it. And I love the fact that we can have a great conversation about peeing, and same thing with Jessica. I have so much peeing humor.
Lots of those
I think
stories.
it's so much funny.
I will never live those moments down. They're forever a part of my story. Yes.
Tell me more about that, Jessica.
Oh, I mean, those two instances, again, that this was post-diagnosis, it was all direct related to MS. But it's like those, God, that was a long time ago. But it's like it'll never go away. It's forever embedded in like my narrative and how I navigate things. And the moment was not funny at all. But looking back, it's just like, it's ridiculous. And it is funny. Like it's.
Can you tell about the story of you were, well, I don't want to tell your narrative, but it made me so laugh when you said you peed. And well, you take it from here.
Oh, you're talking about the moment when yes, I think I described it to y'all as like, because it was, the sun had set. I was on my way home, walking home. And I knew that I had to use, like, oh my gosh, I have to go pee. I need to find a restroom like 10 minutes ago. And then I think I described myself in that moment as that Black girl in the super cute boots who, had like, pee just all down my pants.
And
Someone,
to laugh.
what'd you say?
And you were laughing.
Oh, I was laughing then. I don't think I was crying. There was no laughing. Honestly,
Oh,
I
I'm
don't.
sorry.
No, it doesn't have to be sorry. It's everyone survived. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm like, there has to be. I mean, it's a big city, right? It's the Bay Area. So someone had to see that random Black woman with the super cute boots, cute jeans, who had urine over her. Why does she have urine over her? Who knows what story they made up? Probably way
Right.
more than that's just where my health was at in that moment. And that was that's part of my story. So
I loved it. Love
so
that.
it's all, I mean, yeah, now I'm like, oh yeah, exquisitely embarrassing. And it is something that's like, that I do hold lightly. I hope it doesn't reoccur. Thankfully, it hasn't. Of course, I mean, you know, that's not a bad thing, but that is part of my post-diagnosis experience. Thankfully, both times I was outside, I was by myself, and it was dark. That just happened to be where I was at the moment. So I cannot tell you if I was with people, if I was on the train, how I would really feel about those moments.
Right.
So, but everyone's alive. It is what it is. This is, you know.
I always think in those moments, and maybe it's like defensive reframing or whatever, but like when we embarrass ourselves like that,
Mhm.
and we can laugh at it, even if not in the moment. Anyway, even just looking back at it, I think that if people judge us, well, screw them. And I think for most people, it makes people feel more at ease. Like, I think it makes everybody feel like, okay, I don't have to be perfect. Like, I don't know. I think of like being a parent of a young kid, and when someone else's kid is screaming and your kid's not screaming, and you're like, oh, I feel so relieved that for once it's not me. And I can like, you know, I don't know. It just like, I think it frees everyone up a bit if
Yeah.
we all just remember humanity, that we're all just humans. And maybe I just try to spin it that way to make myself feel better, but just to
Right.
say, like, I think it makes everyone else feel better too, just to see that, okay, yeah, we all have mishaps, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's very much a true, if you really step back and think about it, I completely agree with that. It's like, I don't know, the other day I was waiting for a friend of mine. It's not funny. That's me laugh. I was waiting for a friend of mine outside this burger spot, and some stranger, some passerby was gonna pass by, but instead of passing by smoothly, they tripped and face planted.
Ooh.
They're fine. I mean, clearly they were humiliated, like their behavior patterns where they were
Right.
so, I think they just tripped. So it's that moment of like, oh shit, you're not supposed to laugh. But it's like, that happens. My first
Yeah.
thought, like, I fell and I sprained my ankle and it was embarrassing. But it's like, these things happen. And
But
it's
even
like,
maybe the person who helps pick you up, they feel better too. You know what I mean? It's all connected.
yes, I
But
handed her.
Jessica,
Yeah.
you were in the emergency room because of that uh, fall. And it's hysterical because you didn't get first class treatment like I did. I got, as a stroke, possible stroke, I went right to the top of the line, and I was treated with champagne, caviar, and so you just got to wait. How long did you wait in the emergency room?
Actually, it wasn't crazy long. Maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Mind you, it was New Year's Eve. And it occurred
Oh
to
my
me
God.
later that these doctors, I wonder if they assumed that I was just drunk and I fell. And that was,
Probably.
no, I'm sober. I did fall, but it's because of health stuff. My leg gave out and I face planted. But yeah, so
Jumping in, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
First of all, for
Kimberly.
those who and the attendees that came in late, you might be wondering where Catherine Kiddo is. I just wanted to put up a little hello. She's had a medical emergency. So we are going to do a part 2 to this. We're very sorry about that. But she needed some medical attention. And so that's why she's not here. I'm jumping in because we've got some amazing questions happening over here. And I'm going to direct you guys in this conversation a little bit. One of them that was my own curiosity, I'll just start off with this. And Annie, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about this. Is there a role for physicians to have humor, or caregivers for that matter? Or do you have experiences in your personal lives with your caregivers or people that are, part of that care team that have led with humor, maybe when you're not quite there yet? And has it been helpful, or does it feel kind of awful? I think I've had both. So I'm curious.
That's a good question. That's a tough one. Like, I'm thinking of, as a provider, I think I'm more like trying to be attuned and follow the lead of the person who I'm with. So I don't know that I would go to humor before they went to humor. So I don't think I would ever lead with humor personally,
Good
unless
call.
they led with humor first. But I'm trying to think of a time when it might have helped me when a provider did. It's a fine line, right? I think as a provider, I think I might be pissed if my provider tried to make light of something that didn't feel light.
True.
I agree with
So,
Do you
yeah.
guys have any? How about you, Kyle? Do you have any experiences of that?
I don't feel like I've ever had a provider that was particularly light about the situation at all. And I wish somebody would be. Sometimes, not all the time, like you're saying, Annie. You'd be kind of pissed if they were the ones that kind of got the ball rolling with the laughter in this fucked up situation. But I want somebody that can joke.
Yeah. My father, he was a heart surgeon, and honest to God, one of his patients, he decided he was going to wear a clown nose into surgery. Now, I'm not quite sure what that patient's response was.
I wouldn't like it at all.
Like, are you kidding me? This guy's going to be cutting me open in half an hour. So, it's a fine line. I think, like you said, Annie, maybe yeah.
You must have had some context for the clown nose.
Yeah.
There was some context.
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
if the patient knew about that. Jess, Elizabeth, do either of you have experiences with, where someone's throwing in humor before you're ready for it, or how that's received?
I actually do. So for me, ever since I was diagnosed, any type of doctor testing, anything, even like getting tested for COVID, like shoots up, like it's like trigger warning, because I always go back to when I was first diagnosed with MS. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the danger zone. Like, they're gonna find out the monster that's inside of you. So when I am in Davis, it's gonna sound so fancy, it's really not fancy. I have Kaiser, so I get whatever. But so my gynecologist, she's not like hopping around on like jollies and all that, but sometimes, to me, again, I'm walking into it like, oh God, just like, don't touch me, nobody touch me. I just don't, like, this is the place where they tell you have MS, right? Like, this is where they like prod at you and all these things, poke and prod. And there are some times where I feel like, it's like, why is she like so happy? Like, sometimes I feel like her temperament it comes off as not as serious as I do.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that.
Like, I think that could be true. And also, I know how I feel when testing of any kind is involved. It just makes me post-diagnosis. It just makes my chest tight anyway. But I will say her temperament, not to minimize her professionalism, because it's not, she knows what she's doing, but her temperament has been a little more like, you know, but I've never experienced that with my neurologist or my practitioner per se. So
Does it feel like inauthentic, or do you feel like she's legit happy, just missing the vote?
you know, I think so. There was one appointment, just like a regular, appointment. And that was when George Floyd had just been murdered.
Okay.
Like that had just happened, right?
Well,
And she is a white woman. And it just got like kind of weird. She was just very, I don't know. And I'm like, what's happening? Can we just look in my vagina? Like, can we just like do the regular, like, I don't know. But it just got like, in general, it feels like at times it feels like she's just, it feels lighter. I hope I'm answering your question correctly. And then with him, it got even more kind of just like ridiculous because she went on this whole like banter.
Who's him? With George Floyd? Who's him?
Yeah, regarding George Floyd, he had a whole moment. And I'm like, this is wildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
And perspective as an accomplished, right? Like this is like white woman and yada yada yada. So humor, and then it's like, all right, maybe we could just focus on my vagina and just move forward. So I don't think that she's being inauthentic. I think that I don't see her that often. I think that it's just kind of is what it is. But out of all the doctors that I see, I don't want to say it's a less serious space because I think she takes her practice seriously. She's not doing anything wrong, I would say. But sometimes I feel like it's like, I feel something. And I think that's also because, ever since I was diagnosed, hospitals and poking and prodding and asking questions and blood draws and needles and all those things. So, and hopefully that answers your question. I'm sorry if it really.
Yes. I say yes to you.
Yes. Elizabeth, so you have this like remarkable ability to laugh in the moment. That's sort of how I observe you. You told that story about COVID a couple months ago where you were, everyone's coughing on you and they all had COVID and you were laughing hysterically. And then some of us laugh after the fact, the next day in the shower and
that's me.
Can't get perspective in the moment. I want to know how you do it, Elizabeth, because that feels like a really good skill to have. And I don't know, I'm not that person. I'm in the moment, I'm like, all the alarm bells are going off and then
flustered.
Maybe a later ask me to laugh about it. So I want to know how you do it. Or anyone else, if you have some thoughts.
I just think MS is funny. I think I just have to laugh at myself. I'm so ridiculous. I mean, I'm always so vulnerable that I have to say either I live in shame or laugh at myself. I don't know. It's very. I'm not thinking about it, but everything seems to make me laugh. I mean, I try to have a sense of humor, except at 4:20 today, I started crying, thinking about, oh my, what is humor to me? That I really couldn't stop crying until my assistant gave me a triple espresso and a candy bar, and then I was high as a kite on caffeine. I stopped crying and I was in a good mood. I believe in drugs, caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's how I
That's a part
cope
of
is
your
with
answer, okay?
I also love the like, I don't think that tears and laughter have to be that far apart. Like, you know,
Mhm.
those times when you're like crying and then you're hysterically laughing the next minute and they merge together and one, I don't know. I'm into that whole range of like, I don't know that they have to be polar opposites. I think they can be quite close to each other.
right.
I agree with that.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Kyle, when I've talked to you, you had so many deep thoughts of about humor, and you make me laugh whenever I
Yeah.
talk to you. Your eyebrows make me laugh. I just
Yeah.
think everything you do makes me
Mm.
laugh so much. So tell me about your thoughts.
I guess if we're talking about like finding levity in the moment or in retrospect, it kind of depends on the moment. If I am in public and I am pissing myself in the moment, that is not funny to me. That is traumatic. Uh, after I get home, I'm like, all right, that was fucked up, but let's keep going.
Mhm.
Or sometimes, like you're talking about, Jessica, like you get so tense at the hospital or doctor's office, and so I'm kind of the opposite. I get really jokey and uh, I can be super light about something and then quickly find out that it's going to be some heavy shit. For instance, I was at the urologist going to pee stories.
Mhm.
And the nurse was like, so today we're going to do some urodynamics. Like, oh, that sounds like a good time. Urodynamics, all right. She's like, oh, baby, this is not going to be fun.
What is it? I don't know.
For over an hour, I was hooked up to catheter. They were filling up my bladder, emptying it, filling it up, emptying it, filling it up, emptying it, while my legs are up in stirrups.
That's so funny.
So yeah, I was jokey at first, but quickly found out, not funny. But I'm laughing about it now. So
Now that's another thing we can share. I've had your dynamic studies many times, so we can laugh about after this fact.
Mm.
the nurse kind of all throughout the procedure, she was kind of making me laugh and making me feel good because like I was saying, I was kind of vulnerable with my legs up in stirrups and then doing their thing. She was like, oh baby, you're doing so good. Usually like the older men, they be screaming at the top of their lungs. She's like, you're doing fine, baby. I'm like, okay. Thank you.
Is it pain? Is that a silly question? Is it
painful?
painful? Is the process painful? I clearly don't know anything about the process.
I wouldn't say painful, but it's wildly uncomfortable. Oh my gosh.
Humiliating.
Oh,
And
humiliating. I mean, it was kind of surreal. I was like, is this happening right now? I am 23 years old. And oh my gosh.
Mm.
Okay, so I've got a question here. I'm still kind of scratching my head on this one. Annie, you triggered this when we were talking before we started this. I didn't grow up in a funny family. Like humor was just not like, everyone was really serious and you're always discussing and analyzing and everything. So I'm gonna like pretend I'm an alien. I want every one of you to answer pretty in a succinct way, like how do you be humorous? Like in that moment, Kyle, with your legs in stirrups, teach the alien that doesn't know anything about humor how to be funny in that moment, or how to have a sense of humor in that moment. I want everyone to think,
what
like,
do you have to lose? You're gonna
Ah,
cry, or I mean, you can make light of it. And it's just a choice. sometimes that choice is much easier to make than others. But
that's cool
yeah.
though. So you really go into kind of like, I've got a choice here, and
Mhm.
you make that decision.
I think that's MS overall. I could
Yeah.
just get into my self-pity and just say fuck it, but no, I'm gonna just keep going, keep doing my thing.
Jessica, what do you think?
The question was what was the question again, Kim?
How do you be humorous in what would ordinarily be a traumatic moment? Teach the person that doesn't know how to be humorous in that moment, not outwardly even, just humorous with oneself.
I feel like this is going to come off as wildly dramatic, but it's actually very honest. I don't know. In those type of heightened traumatic moments, you build a wall. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking about when I went in to get a rape kit. It was the same type of temperament when I was that one moment when I was at the hospital for a few nights. Other than like, I don't know, this wall gets built and then it just kind of happens. Honestly, that's really all I got for that answer.
Like a protective wall around you or between you and everyone else?
Between me and the reason. Between me and the thing that brought me there for the kit. Between me and my diagnosis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Wow.
But that's really it's just, maybe I'll have more later if I sit more with what I actually do in those moments.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like this wall that's there to, I don't know, do whatever wall do to keep it out. So that's my answer.
Wall. Thank you for sharing that. Or Elizabeth, what do you guys have to say?
Well, I don't feel like I ever have the presence to make a choice. I just find things really funny with my hands in the toilet bowl in the San Francisco airport bathroom. I just thought it was really funny and I just couldn't stop laughing. People thought it was some weird woman laughing in the toilet. So finally someone came in and tried to see if they could help me because I was laughing so hard. Anyway, I don't know. It's my go-to. I just think MS is humiliating and really funny.
I think I go like one of two ways. Like either I'm like complete surrender, like this is just ridiculous, and like lay it all out there, and here I am, and like do whatever you want with it, go. This is it. And that complete surrender, I think, can sometimes be funny. And the other direction I'll go is like kind of like the word barb comes to mind, like I almost get a little feisty, like a banter kind of thing. Like and that's more of a defensive kind of funny. And not that it's funny, but like when I was hearing you talk about the stirrups, Kyle, I was like, yeah, whatever. We've been in stirrups a lot. The rest of us have been in a lot of stirrups. A lot of times I've been in a lot of stirrups. That's not necessarily funny, but that's like a hard-edged kind of defensive. I don't know. So I think I either go completely vulnerable, lay it all out there, or I kind of go banter. Let's what do you call, go back and forth. And
Annie, is it a choice? Annie, are you rational thinking about what choices?
I think rational is overestimated.
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it just comes to, I don't know. I don't think I go through a rational process now.
Mm.
Maybe I should.
No.
I don't.
Well, so I'm not a neuroscientist, obviously. Maybe Annie, you can help correct me on this, but in my mind, I'm thinking like humor, in order to be or to have perspective on anything in life, we have to have like somewhat of an executive function happening. We can't just be completely in that like primal limbic part of our brains that's going, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I don't know. Can humor and panic coexist? Or do we have to have like some, like the wall there, or that banter that can kind of separate us a little bit from our experience, so we can almost look down at ourselves in the stirrups and go, boy, that's a funny looking scene. You
I
know,
don't know. It's a good question.
That's so
I
funny.
I think I kind of, I mean, it's different than, I like unfiltered people. I think they're the
Mm.
funniest. I mean, so I don't know if that's an executive functioning thing, but I kind of like people who just don't have as much of that self-censorship going on, that wall. I think it's really funny and real when people are just, you know, lay it out there. I like unfiltered to a point, to a point.
Well, that's what I love about Jessica and Kyle and you, Annie, because we all are pretty much unfiltered when we're together. So we're able to be vulnerable with each other. I think that's why I have a good, solid community amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I agree.
one of the
I-
questions actually was, do you think by being funny, you are allowed to be more vulnerable or seen? Just sort of addressing what you just said, Elizabeth. Do you think that humor allows you to be more vulnerable?
Yes, both.
I think so. Yep.
All
think
the, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I think it's like what I said, like that I can see it either way. Like it can be a defense and it can make us less vulnerable. It can certainly be a way we're deflecting, but I think it can also be very vulnerable if we're allowing ourselves to laugh at ourselves. So I think it depends on how you're coming at the humor.
Yeah.
How about go-to humor? Let's finish up this conversation with just because we're gonna have a part 2 on this one. But do you guys have, where do you go when you just need to laugh? What is your, I mean, I don't care if it's a link or a comedian or a chant. Where do you go so that we can leave our awesome audience with some places to go and laugh tonight?
Oh, the new stand-up by, I forgot her name. She's so talented.
Taylor Tomlinson.
Who?
Taylor Tomlinson.
No.
She's great.
I just watched hers earlier.
Oh, no, she's Asian. She was in that.
Oh, I
Amy.
know which one you're talking about. But
No, but she is. Her new stand-up is ridiculously funny. She was in that movie.
is
Always.
it Ali Wong?
Yes, it freaking is.
Yes.
Top tier.
Yes. Agreed.
Top
I'm
tier.
going to interrupt. I want to keep listening to that, but we do have an awesome question coming in. So let's segue and then end on the comedian's note. Lydia is joining us today, and she wants to know how you guys all met. How did you all meet, and where, and how did this magic happen?
Elizabeth.
Find ladies found me on the interwebs.
Yep, on Instagram. Actually, that's how we found you, Kyle.
Okay. I've been wanting to ask you guys, like, how did y'all find me?
Jessica. I fell in love with Jessica years ago. And
Where?
Annie. I've always admired Annie so much. So mutual
Where did you and
admiration.
Jessica meet, Elizabeth?
Where did Jessica and I meet? Where did we meet, Jessica?
My heart. You invited me to. Wow, I actually don't remember how. Oh yeah, I do. I think I do. But you asked me to be part of one of your projects. What was that project called? I do not remember, but it was fantastic and dynamic. That was like 10 years ago.
The waiting room project.
No, it was before the waiting room
Oh,
project.
the photography exhibit. We
Yeah.
photographed you.
I'm going
Yeah.
to jump in and say it was called Facing MS.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Facing him at.
Mhm.
That was a lifetime ago.
I have
Yes.
so many projects, so I can't even remember.
There you go. Fancy.
And then Elizabeth, how did you meet Annie?
Annie, how did we meet? I
Trying
have
to
no
think.
memory.
I know someone connected us. I think it was around the waiting room project.
Wow.
Because I was doing another thing at Mass General called the Sharing Clinic, which was about a listening kiosk in the hospital, trying to bring it into waiting rooms. And so someone was like, you guys should talk. And we had a Skype call and I fell in love with you. But I don't remember who it was that connected us. It's going to drive me crazy now, but I'm so thankful to them. And then I feel like you were the connector of all of us, of course, because this is your baby, this is your idea, and then you put us all together, and here we are.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth, you do such a fantastic job of kind of nurturing this. It's not like you guys, we just show up once a month and that's it. There's this interweb happening throughout the month. And I think, I think the relationships have really been nurtured over the last 6 months.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, Elizabeth.
Absolutely.
I think my idea of humor is talking to all of you. I think I need vulnerability in terms of sharing urine stories or spasming stories or all the stuff we go through. And you guys are hysterical. Even you, Annie, who doesn't think you're funny. I think you're really
You are.
funny.
You are. I agree.
Annie and her scotch. I love that. I love that. That's how I think of you with a glass of scotch. You give me so much joy. I visualize you with your glass of scotch and your wisdom. You have so much wisdom.
So much wisdom. So
Annie,
much.
you have your scotch there tonight?
No, not right now. No, it's late night here. Well, not really, but on the East Coast here.
Yeah,
You
it's
need your scotch.
8:56.
What time is it?
All right, throw some comedians out there, and then we'll wrap it up. We've got a couple more minutes. So if there's anything else to just feed our souls with humor.
Oh, yes.
I wish I could think. I'm like that on the spot of like, where do I go for humor? But I know I'll think of it later.
Baby goat videos. I threw this question out for Unfixed this week, and baby goat videos was kind of unanimous. Honestly, it doesn't have to be sophisticated humor. My nephew is all into poop right now, and poop jokes, they get me going. So
Well, have you seen the Zookeeper in Japan with the pandas?
Mm-mm.
I mean, it kills me
No.
every time. I laugh and giggle. If I just need a laugh, I just put it on so I can watch.
Zookeeper in Japan.
Yeah, with the pandas, and the pandas create a lot of havoc for her when she's trying to clean up. So, mhm.
That's very funny.
Key and Peel.
and
Somebody said
Peele.
Key and Peel.
Hands down.
Really?
And Peel, when they really were like together doing their stuff, they're ridiculously hilarious.
They are.
Awesome.
Peel. Whoever said that, that's absolutely Key and Peel. Yeah.
Trevor Noah. I love Trevor Noah.
I love Trevor Noah. I got to see him live a couple of years ago.
He's
Mm.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Who else is funny? Ellen DeGeneres is pretty funny. It's usually good vibes. Ellen?
Signataro is one of my favorites.
I
Dignataro.
love
Dignataro.
Great.
Yeah,
I
I got
love
to
Talk
see
about somebody who knows how to laugh at things that are not laughable.
Stigma.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I love the fact she can talk about imperfect bodies, and
Mhm.
she was naked, showing the whole audience her breast and mastectomy and was open to be laughed at, and I just love her.
I love her too.
We can pee with her. I mean, I'm sorry. Just, it's true.
Well, Lisa, you want to wrap it up with?
I was just going to say, on that note, now I have to pee. So it's good time to wrap up. Hopefully next time, we'll see what we do next time, but it'd be great to get Heather Kennedy, also known as Kathleen Kiddo, to come on. And I hope she's doing okay. I know she's doing okay. And I know she really wanted to be here. So, but
She's hysterical.
She is hysterical.
I can't wait to have her join.
So until next time, friends, we'll have this up on YouTube within the next few days. And if you think anybody would benefit from this, please, please, please invite them to watch and join us in future episodes. So
thank you, Lisa.
Thanks so much.
Everybody.
Thanks, Kimberly. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.